Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Champions League club optimistic they can sign frightening Arsenal player. Arsenal forward Folarin Balogun is a name talked about quite a lot this transfer window, and journalist Bennett Jacobs has provided an update on his future. Mikel Arteta is making big strides at Arsenal, and the recent growth has been emphasized by the top signings they have made this summer. Sadly, this means that some players will end up moving on the pursuit of more football. One of these looks to be Balogun, with Inter Milan, one of the clubs reportedly interested. Apparently, the player wants to pursue more game time after his very successful loan in League One. The striker managed 22 goals across the season. With some great attackers at the club, Mikel Arteta cannot really promise money in the squad consistent game time. It will be very interesting to see how the squad looks at the end of the window. Sports reporter Ben Jacobs shared the latest on the future of the Arsenal star. Jacobs said, Folarin Balogun keen on a move to Inter, but Arsenal will have to drop the price. Inter are hoping for a total package of under 40 million euros. Arsenal want 50 to 55 million euros. Inter need a reduction but are cautiously optimistic Arsenal will come down. Inter's budget basically the same as for Romelu Lukaku. The frightening player is only 22 years old and has top potential, but he is still unproven in the Premier League. This is quite risky for Arteta when he is now pushing for the title. It would no doubt be better for the club to slowly integrate him into the first team. If Balogun does not want this, then it's best to let him go. Inter Milan are a top Champions League club, and it would be a good move for him. If Arsenal can manage to get a top figure for him, then it seems like a no-brainer. Tremendous £12 million Arsenal player has just told Mikel Arteta he wants to leave. A bizarre report from Turkey has claimed that Jorginho has informed Arsenal that he wants to leave the club this month and Fenerbahce are keen to sign him. The Italian joined the Gunners from Chelsea back in January this year. Mikel Arteta's side paid £12 million for his signature and he has been brilliant so far. Almost every Arsenal fan expects Jorginho to play a part for the club this season, but a report from TRT Sport has just shared a very different update. Arsenal's main target to strengthen their midfield back in January this year was Moses Caicedo. The Gunners tried extremely hard to sign the Brighton and Hove Albion star and even tabled two big bids. The Seagulls, however, turned them both down and he stayed put. Arsenal really needed to bring a new man in, and Arteta decided to sign Jorginho from Chelsea. That dampened the mood around the Emirates at the time, but the Italian proved everyone wrong. Jorginho barely put a foot wrong for Arsenal last season. He was sensational, and he had a really good preseason for the North Londoners as well. Now, however, the report from Turkey claims Jorginho is not in Arsenal's plans for the new season. They claim the Italian has directly told the club he wants to leave. Fenerbahce have reportedly made contact with Arsenal now to try and sign the Italian in the coming days. We just can't see Jorginho leaving Arsenal this month. The Italian, branded as a tremendous player by Arteta, looks happy and at home at the Emirates. He is clearly not the first choice, but he has been brilliant almost every time he has played, and there is no way Arteta will let him go now. Arsenal are back in the Champions League this season. Very few of their players have ever played in the competition before, which could make it tricky for them when the going gets tough. Jorginho, however, has played and even won the Champions League, and his experience will be key for Arsenal this term. We expect him to stay. Really important Arsenal player returns from injury just in time for Community Shield. Arsenal take on Manchester City in the Community Shield tomorrow, and Mikel Arteta has some positive news coming his way. Reece Nelson is back in training after his injury. The Gunners have had a decent preseason. They didn't win every game like they did last year, but Arteta experimented a lot with his team and there were some really positive signs. Now, It's time for business with a big game against Manchester City coming up, and Nelson could be back on the bench when Arsenal go to Wembley tomorrow. Reece Nelson has always been a squad player at Arsenal, but he really came to life with some of his appearances off the bench last season. The Englishman finally looked like he believed in himself. He was confident on the ball, wasn't afraid to take on defenders, and have an impact, and that showed everyone a really exciting side of his game. Nelson's performances last season convinced Arteta to hand him a brand new contract. After weeks of negotiations, the winger put pen to paper, and everyone expected him to have a big preseason. Sadly, Nelson suffered an injury and had to stay back home, while all his teammates flew over to the United States to take on the MLS All Stars, Manchester United, and Barcelona. The 23-year-old even missed the game against Monaco earlier this week, but it looks like he is back now. Nelson was spotted in full Arsenal training yesterday. He is back with the group now, and he is likely to be in the squad for the Community Shield tomorrow. This is going to be a big season for Nelson, the 23-year-old branded as someone who can be a really important player for Arsenal by Arteta, has all the qualities to succeed at the top level. He may not be on the level of Gabriel Martinelli or Bukayo Saka, but he is more than capable of filling in for the two Gunners wingers whenever required. Arsenal will need all the help they can get against Manchester City tomorrow, and Nelson may need to have a huge impact off the bench to get his side over the line. Gary Lineker says Arsenal have made a signing who can make things happen. Arsenal have made one of the biggest signings of the summer transfer window in Declan Rice. The Gunners reportedly paid £100 million upfront, plus bonuses, to sign the England international from West Ham. Arsenal enjoyed an outstanding season last term, but sadly fell just short of the Premier League title. The Gunners have been shaping up to try for the title once again, as well as returning to the Champions League. Rice, arguably one of the best midfielders in the world, is a significant addition to Mikel Arteta's ranks, and Gary Lineker, writing in The Sun, has waxed lyrical about the 24-year-old ace. He said, "A lot of players who move for big money struggle to cope with their price tag, but I don't think that will be the case with ex-West Ham skipper Declan Rice. He is an exceptional player, a holding midfielder, but also far more than that. Rice is a real leader who will run all day, a player who can break the lines and make things happen with the ball at his feet. Of course, £105 million is a massive fee, but he will not have the same pressure as a forward player who moves for big money because they are constantly judged on their scoring record. I'd like to see Rice add more goals to his game, but nobody is expecting that of him. Rice is a world-class player, and it will be exciting to see how he fares now he is moved to a Champions League and title challenging club. With such a hefty price tag, the pressure will certainly be on, more so than if he had moved for 8 figures. However, Rice is a resilient player with high mental strength. The player has already admitted he is learning so much more under Arteta at Arsenal, so it will be interesting to see just how much his game develops. With Manchester City getting stronger, the Gunners will need to be at their absolute best to challenge them for the title, and Rice will surely play a big part in the chase. Arsenal eyeing perfect £35 million player, he'd be amazing alongside Rice. The latest news is reporting that Arsenal are interested in a top 22-year-old midfielder, and he would be amazing alongside a new signing Declan Rice. Reports from The Independent are suggesting that Arsenal are keeping tabs on French midfielder Kefren Thuram this summer. He is on a list of players the Gunners are monitoring as they continue their huge summer transfer window. The report also shares that Premier League rivals Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United are all keeping tabs as well. Arsenal finally managed to sign their top target Declan Rice this summer, and Thuram alongside Rice in a new look midfield would massively improve the team. The perfect defensive midfielder who already plays to a very high level, has bags of potential. He would fit in well with the exciting prospect already at the club. We know Rice can defend well, but he is also very good in attack and is a great box to box midfielder. The England international will no doubt thrive at Arsenal. He would no doubt be even better with Thuram alongside him. The 22-year-old would sit back and be the more defensive out of the two. This would massively help Arsenal in both defense and attack. They could have an extra option helping them in attack and also not be fearful of being exploited by counter attacks due to Thuram's defensive awareness. Thuram would also add a great squad depth to the club. They will be hoping to compete well in the Champions League, and if they signed Thuram, it would massively boost their Premier League title hopes. The Arsenal squad is already looking exciting next season, and it would be even more exciting to see Thuram play alongside Rice. Journalist says Arteta really likes £30 million target, who is great with his feet. Arsenal have been linked with a move for David Raya this summer transfer window, and journalist Paul Brown shared that the goalkeeper is someone Mikel Arteta has been a big fan of for quite some time. Recent reports have been suggesting that Arsenal are very keen on the Spaniard. These same reports have been suggesting that Raya has reached an agreement in principle with Arsenal on the personal terms. In terms of price tag, Raya is apparently rated at £40 million. However, the Daily Mail has reported that £30 million could be enough for Arsenal to land him. Journalist Paul Brown was speaking to Give Me Sport and shared more about how keen Gunners manager Mikel Arteta is on signing Raya. He said, "They have been interested in this guy for a long time. Arteta went for him once before and really likes the fact that he is great with his feet. He would fit into their system really nicely." With Aaron Ramsdale the current number one, Mikel Arteta could have an abundance of talent in between the sticks next season. It's no shock to see the Gunners continue to want to strengthen the summer transfer window. They had a fantastic season last campaign, but fell short in the Premier League title race. David Raya is a great goalkeeper, and not only is he a good shot stopper, but he is also great on the ball. Arguably, he is better in most departments than Ramsdale. In the modern game, it's vital that goalkeepers can do it all. Although Ramsdale can do it to a very high standard, it's not a shock to see Arteta want the absolute best. If they are going to compete with Manchester City next season, then they need to have a top squad. Their form started dropping towards the end of last season due to a lack of squad depth. Arsenal now want to sign amazing £38 million Aston Villa talent. Arsenal are continuing to look for new players this summer and could end up reigniting their interest in Aston Villa's Emiliano Buendia. That's according to a report from Football Transfers Anyway, who claim that Buendia is now back on Arsenal's list of potential target. Buendia was followed closely by Arsenal a while ago, but never ended up signing. Instead, the Argentinian landed at Villa Park and has impressed ever since Unai Emery took over. Villa paid around £38 million all in to sign Buendia after his superb form for Norwich City saw him hammer in goals and assists consistently. Lauded by previous Villa manager Steven Gerrard as an amazing talent, Buendia is still only 26 and should very much have the prime years of his career ahead of him. Whether or not Mikel Arteta will see another attacking midfielder as a priority remains to be seen. However, it's well documented that Arteta would like to sign someone to push and compete with Bukayo Saka if possible. Arsenal have spent huge amounts this summer on the likes of Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. They are continuing to pursue a deal for Brentford stopper David Raya as well. Emiliano Buendia is a fine player capable of influencing the game in the final third. He has shown with Villa he has talent, and he was key for them pushing on last term. It seems unlikely that Villa would even entertain any offers from Arsenal for Buendia. Under Unai Emery, Villa will be pushing for Europe this season again. Letting Buendia go to the Gunners then would be a very odd move. not to mention the fact that he'd be costing Arsenal north of £50 million if a deal was to be even entertained. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.